What's up, guys? We're back with another Spider-Man Retro Wave review, taking a look at a villain in the assortment, and we're taking a look at Hammerhead today. So there's a solid number of villains in this wave. You know, it's half villains, and this is one that I need to fill out my ranks, so I'm happy to get this guy. He is a little bit, you know, more plain than others until you get to the fact that he has an adamantium skull and a goofy flat top. So I'm pretty happy to get this guy. He comes on the standard retro card style packaging, so of course very Toy Biz inspired, very Spider-Man cartoon inspired as well. You've got that logo up there at the top, some toon style artwork of Hammerhead, and then you've got him there, of course, in that big bubble. And then on the back you've got more of that artwork, some of that vintage inspired sort of instructional artwork, a bio, and cross-sell for the rest of the wave. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our retro Spider-Man Wave Hammerhead figure. This is one that I've been looking forward to just since we've known that he was coming. It's not one that I would necessarily say I've been like dying to get a hold of. But when I saw him finally in hand, I was even more excited because this is a pretty solid figure. Like, normally I don't take to a lot of the more civilian clothing kind of figures because they are a little bit more boring to me in many respects. But this guy is really cool for a number of reasons. Not just because he has a stupid, you know, head sculpt and flat top that very much looks like some sort of Dick Tracy kind of character, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this figure just from a paint perspective, and then of course the fact that we've got some pinless parts too. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around. He's still pretty normal when it comes to articulation, but we've got a head that can look up pretty good. He's got a ball peg for the joint there. He can look down pretty nicely. You do get some tilt, quite a bit actually, and then you've got full rotation there as well. Arms out at the shoulder, only about this far though, and then you've got full rotation. You do have your bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows. They are not pinless, and then we've got hinges and rotation at the wrist. As far as the torso goes, he's a bit of a brick, so you can twist him, you know, at the waist. But anything that he may or may not have underneath there, like I really don't know what's going on under there, it's basically useless. Like there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there, as you might expect. Legs go out about this far. He's not going to be doing the splits, but I don't think you're going to need it with him either. They kick forward pretty much all the way. Kick backward slightly. You do have a thigh cut. We've got double jointed pinless knees here, and they are kind of stiff on my figure, and they go back all the way. They are, however, a pretty hideous looking joint. Like that just doesn't look good really in any way, but it looks pretty good when they are together. So I'm not so sure how dynamic I'm ever going to be with this guy, so it may or may not be an issue. As far as the ankles go, because he doesn't have a boot cut of any kind, there's no shin swivel down here, he's got rocker, and he's got really, really good hinges. They go backwards really well. They don't go as far forward, but it's still probably more than enough. And they rock really nicely, even though they've got all these sculpted wrinkles and the kind of bunching fabric down here. Nothing really gets in the way. So for the most part, for a suited body kind of figure, he moves honestly a little bit better than I expected, but there's nothing really different here for the most part, outside of the fact that he does have a nicely ball jointed head. And then of course we've got some pinless tech down below. Now, aesthetically, I am very happy with this guy pretty much across the board. I don't have truly anything that I think should be changed because they kind of hit all the notes for me. The pinstripe suit is incredibly well done. I truly have like no issues on this. Everything's very clean, very crisp. I have no problems with like, you know, sloppy lines or gloops or splotches anywhere. Everything looks pretty nice here. It is, of course, black on sort of a dark navy blue, so that does help kind of mask some of it. If there is issues, it's kind of hard to pick up, but I do think it's nicely done. I really like these new legs. I mean, that joint there is pretty unsightly, especially when it's all the way you know, moved and when it's folded all the way back. But just standing neutral, I think he looks pretty nice. And then I really like the way the pants are bunched up down here at the bottom. His legs are a little bit, you know, stockier, so the fabric kind of bunches up nicely down here. It looks like it's actually sitting, resting on the top of the shoe. And then the shoes are nicely done too. They start at the underside of the pants there, so there's a little bit of black paint on the bottom of the legs to kind of blend it all together. But they're nice and glossy, which you would expect for, you know, kind of like a gangstery kind of figure. And then you've got a black shirt with the red tie underneath, and that all looks really clean and crisp. It's just molded plastic, so it should. What I really like, one of my favorite things about this guy is his left hand is a fist with some brass knuckles, and they've gone so far as to give him the the actual brass knuckles that have the lettering on them. So it says HED. It's backwards when you're looking at it. So if he was punching somebody, it would leave his calling card in there. So I absolutely love that little detail. I wasn't sure if it was on there at first, and I, paid attention for a couple of seconds and realized that, yeah, they did go that extra step and make it give him that little calling card, which I do really like. I think it's one of those little details that's nice to see, and it's also just a cool, very classic gangstery kind of thing to see also. And then lastly, we've got this head sculpt, and it is one of those kind of ridiculous Dick Tracy-esque designs. He's got a very, very accentuated forehead, and then he's got the crazy flat top, so he's got an adamantium skull under there, but he looks like somebody that could be with Dick Tracy, and I really like that. It's just a different kind of thing, so he doesn't look like your average normal civilian suited character. He definitely looks a little different because of all of these little details, the pinstripe, the brass knuckles, and then of course this head sculpt makes him sort of seem like era specific almost. And then of course his the face paint on its own is pretty nicely done. I do believe this looks like photo printing to me, and I know that's going to be a thing. I guess it's a thing now going forward. I don't know when it's supposed to start or if it has or whatever yet, but photo printing on comic figures going forward, and I do believe that's it. The eyes and the lips in particular look very photo printed to me, but I'm very happy with this head sculpt. He definitely has a lot of character up there. So overall, a very nice looking figure. They sell the idea of this Marvel Comics old-timey gangster quite nicely. Now, as far as accessories goes, Hammerhead doesn't have a ton of stuff, kind of a theme for a lot of these figures in the retro waves, but I do like what he has, so that's kind of cool. He really just has some replacement hands and then a weapon. So we've got a gripping hand here for his right, and we've got a open palm more gripping hand, not necessarily a style pose hand or anything like that, but it's helpful to hold his bat. So, in typical, like a very gangster fashion, he comes with a bat to, maybe send a message. So we've got the gripping hand to hold it, this hand to let it rest in. If you want to have him posed on your shelf, that's probably not a bad way to do it. This hand does not have the brass knuckles on it, but I think this looks pretty good. The bat's just a black plastic bat. Nothing really special there, but it works. It sells the scene for me. It kind of sells more of the idea of what this guy's about, and it all looks pretty good. It's basic stuff, but it works. So overall, this is a pretty solid figure. Like, there's really not a lot for me to speak negatively about here because I'm pretty happy with the way this guy turned out. He's not necessarily one that I've been clamoring for, but it's cool to get him, and especially to get him in a more updated fashion. Throw him with various characters, and you can help set a scene on your shelf. Kingpin, Daredevil, Spider-Man, of course. He goes with a lot of different things. I like the baseball bat. I love the hand that has the brass knuckles on it, and he just looks good. Like, there's a lot to like about the way this guy turned out, from how this suit is painted to his ridiculous flat top, and then of course to the fact that he has pinless suit pants legs, which I was not aware of, and I'm pretty happy to see that. That joint is kind of ugly when you've got it fully extended, but it does make for a much more seamless and pleasing set of legs for sure. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Retro Wave Hammerhead. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.